Welcome to this episode of Hot Takes, the show where we eat hot wings and ask even hotter questions. I'm Andrew Mrzowski, the executive editor of The Silhouette, and today I am joined with MSU presidential candidate Jovan Popovic. Jovan, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
How's your spice tolerance?
Usually it's not very good, so I've been a little bit nervous for this for a while now.
Great. And I mean, you did it last year when you were running. How'd you find it last year by the end of?
Concerning. It was hot.
It was hot? Okay. So how does it work? We'll be eating 3 varying levels of hot wings. The hotter the wing, the hotter the question. Make sense?
Absolutely. Let's get going.
Great. So let's start off with the mild wing. You hear how crunchy that is? I don't know if you can hear this. It's like... All right, you ready?
Almost extra hot.
It's just the mild one.
I know. I'm getting started heavy.
Okay, so our first question for you. Who is a historical figure that you look up to?
Ooh. I think the easy answer for me, especially coming of Eastern European background, is Nikola Tesla. Kind of an all-time great inventor. Obviously, many people know him as a very underrated scientist. So seeing a lot of what he accomplished and the innovation that he brought to the world, I think he's the easy answer for me.
Cool. All right, you ready for number 2?
Let's get going.
So this is the medium sauce.
I'm going intense again. We ready for this?
I'll join you with that.
All out. Need to get the face all saucy or else I don't know what we're doing here.
New campaign photos. Mission accomplished. Face is all saucy.
That one's a touch above the last one.
It's got like a little something hidden in there, right?
Mm-hmm. I smelled it as soon as I brought the wing to my mouth.
Okay, so you state in your campaign that you aim to collaborate with Metrolinx to expand bus routes and frequency to better serve commuter students.
Yeah.
What new routes specifically do you hope to see added, and which ones do you think should run more frequently in order to best serve McMaster students who either commute or would like to commute to campus?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was something that was really building off of last year. I really wanted to create and pave way for more convenience for commuter students. So in the last year, I was very fortunate to have been able to work with Metrolinx, and we did successfully get, we did successfully get a bunch of new routes. I apologize, not new routes. We successfully got a lot more frequent buses on pre-existing routes. A lot of it was trial-based, it was a temporary thing, and I was very fortunate in January to have received confirmation that these routes are in fact going to stick. They experienced success and they decided to continue forth with them. As I move forward, I'm really hoping to really increase this frequency. Mm-hmm. I was given some data from Metrolinx while I continued my presidency a couple weeks ago that I don't have access to right now, having taken a leave of absence, but that data suggested that approximately just over 10% of the student body takes the GO bus to and from school. So that's why it's become such a priority, and I want to make sure that I can continue increasing the route frequencies so the students could get to school in a much more time-efficient manner. Mm-hmm. They don't have to waste as much time waiting around. And as we continue to look into exploring new routes, this is something Metrolinx is always doing. But ultimately, I want to help them receive more information and more student feedback so that they could really assess which of these routes are really critical in creating new routes.
Cool. How are you feeling after the medium? Because I'm feeling a little like heartburn or something going on.
For a medium, I thought it'd be a little softer.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Last question, sure. Last wing, last sauce. Do not touch your eyes after you eat this.
Of course.
I feel like I don't have to say it, but just as a fair warning, we don't want you going back upstairs to campaign.
Of course.
Like red eyes, they'll think you have pink eye or something.
Of course.
You ready?
Yep. Are we going all out for this one?
We sure are.
All right, let's go.
You see how this one's like gloopy?
I think I'm going to regret this one.
Oh yeah, me too. All right. Thank you for coming here and doing this with us.
It's nice knowing you.
Best of luck.
A good sized bite.
That one, it gets you after.
I'm starting to. It wasn't that bad as soon as I bit, but now I'm starting to feel the heat quick.
Okay. Question 3. You state in your campaign that you believe McMaster's present restriction on the use of AI in academic work is too restrictive.
Yes.
And that you intend to advocate for changes to McMaster's AI policy. Yes. How exactly do you intend to influence McMaster to change its policies in this regard?
Certainly. Before I do, wow, this is getting there. This past year, I was a member of the Generative AI Task Force, so it was give or take approximately 40 people in the room that worked towards the provisional policy that was intact for this school year. I achieved a lot of great wins within that, such as narrowing down the academic integrity policy so that it would provide less risk for students and that they wouldn't be as vulnerable to potential, I'll say, abuse of power cases. As well, I worked towards, this is like, I was told this wouldn't be hot. I can't think now. I've lost everything.
Would you like me to restate the question for you?
Yeah, let's start again.
Okay. You state in your campaign that you believe McMaster's present restriction on the use of AI in academic work is too restrictive and that you intend to advocate for changes to McMaster's AI policy. How exactly do you intend to influence McMaster to change its policies in this regard? You spoke a little bit about the work you've already done.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I recall the first point I mentioned was narrowing down the AI policy, or the academic integrity policy, so that students would have less risk, they'd be less vulnerable and exposed. The second one, and this one's especially effective right now, was they were going to be implementing AI detection software, Turnitin's detection feature, which is, according to various sources, unreliable and inaccurate, including the Washington Post.
Okay.
And ultimately, they're going to implement it in January, and I've convinced them to reconsider. It has not been turned on yet, and they are reevaluating that decision. And the last and potentially most critical was that they were, they were going to be beginning to allow AI grading and assessment, and I successfully advocated against this. The reason why I'm so big on AI in this upcoming year is because these guidelines were provisional, meaning that they're ready to adapt and ready for change, given that AI is so new to the scene. And I largely expect much of this policy to be revised, if not completely rewritten, as the summer months approach. And I'll have a very similar opportunity to when I was on the Generative AI Task Force the first time around. And in my opinion, I think that the best possibly fit person in order to continue advocating so strongly for this within this scenario is somebody who was on the task force the first time and understood the values and motives of university administration in creating the first round of provisional guidelines.
Awesome. Jovan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you will survive after that last wing.
I'm all ready to go back to the mild.
For more information about the MSU presidential election, keep it locked to the Silhouette and make sure to vote between January 23rd and 26th.